welcome to the investment interview. My name is Chen Lin. I'm the writer of and author of What's Chen Buying, What's Chen Selling. You can go to my website at chenpicks.com. Today, actually, I have an old friend here. We've been through this for many years. It's American Pacific. It used to be a big home run, and then they come down. And then it has been relatively quiet on the stock front, but the company has a lot of activity, a lot of news, and it's come to an inflection point. I'll introduce American Pacific CEO Warwick Smith. Welcome, War.
Thank you, Chen. I appreciate you having me on. You've been one of the longest supporters of American Pacific, so I'll start by saying thank you. It's greatly appreciated for sure.
Oh no, it's been a pleasure. It's been a long run, and the stock has some up and downs, and initial excitement, and then it came down. And there's a lot of momentum. People trading on momentum. People just think your stock is not moving, so must be something wrong. So maybe you can explain to us what you have, and then what the
Absolutely.
incredible valuation you have right
Yeah,
now.
absolutely. It's the exact reason I wanted to be here today because we want to get out and start creating some momentum. We've done a lot of the work now, and now we got to start talking about it and getting people excited. So we took American Pacific public in March of 2018. So the company's been around for almost 8 years now. During those times, and they were lean times, we built up a really good portfolio of assets where we picked up a bunch of projects down in Nevada. We had the project up in Alaska, and then we have Madison, which is down in Montana. What we have started to do and started to do successfully is divest of some of those projects so that American Pacific investors are getting the opportunity to see those projects get drilled while we take part in the equities of those companies. And then that allows us to focus on our drilling in Madison. So what does that mean today? Today, this is Friday, the 9th of January. American Pacific has a $37 million market cap. Call it roughly $37 million market cap.
Canadian?
Canadian, correct.
Mhm.
Yes, correct. So what do we have within that? So our November financials, we had $2.2 million in cash. We had just over $4 million in long-term investments, which is cash in escrow. We have two stocks on top of that that really backfill the value of that $37 million market cap. We have Vizsla Copper, which we did a transaction for what was $15 million in stock. That stock is now worth $26 million as of today, slightly more, but roughly $26 million. They raised $44 million in cash and are going to have an aggressive drill program up at Palmer this summer. So that was a great transaction, but that gives us $26 million in stock based on the price today. We also have stock in a company called ICG Resources, which is going public at the end of February. That's worth about $4 million today. So there's $30 million of stock there. Plus, there's an additional $20 million in bonus payments that can come to American Pacific based on success of those two companies. Final piece I'll note on that is for the ICG transaction. For every 100,000 shares of American Pacific that you own, if you own it near the end of February, you'll get roughly 3,400 shares of ICG Resources as part of a spinout. And that'll all take part at the end of February. So it's an additional share payment for shareholders of American Pacific. That backfills that value significantly. And then you've got Madison, which is what we believe can be a true company maker project, which is incredibly high grade skarn at surface with the addition of an exciting possibility of a porphyry underneath. And so we're going to attack Madison aggressively this year by both drilling at the skarn and some of these CRD targets at surface, as well as taking these, what we're referring as kind of bonus shots at the porphyry. So there's these big intrusive centers at depth, and all our data sets point towards them. And we're going to take those drill shots coming up here as well. And that's very similar to what Hercules did when they had about a $40 million market cap, and they were lucky enough to hit. And I think it became roughly a $400 million market cap after that. So you've got all of this encompassed into what is presently a $37 million market cap company. So I'll let you ask questions on the back of that, but that just sort of sets the stage for where we are today.
Well, so basically, this looks like, eventually we also shareholder of Vizsla Copper, which I'm also shareholder separately. And
Myself
then
as well.
yeah, Vizsla actually Copper came to my panel to present years ago. I like the management really well. I got involved at the very beginning. So that's a great company, great copper play. They took over the Palmer that you got penny on the dollar. You basically got them sold to them with shares, right? The shares worth almost 30 million, almost your market cap. Plus,
Yeah.
there's another 20 million uh,
Yes.
your milestone payment come
Yeah, so on the
potentially.
Vizsla Copper piece, I mean, I putting it in the hands of Craig Perry and his team, one of the things that we're looking to do with this equity book is we're not, and I'll mention this as well. We're not done. There are other assets that we have that we are looking to transact on, but we are looking to transact with quality management teams that have really good technical teams, good strong investors behind them. Vizsla Copper fits that perfectly. Craig's taken three companies over $1 billion in the mining space and is somebody that understands what it takes to move these assets forward significantly. They were a perfect transaction for us. So we transacted for 13.888 million shares of Vizsla Copper at what that time was worth $15 million. That was a little over a month ago, and it's already worth $26 million. We think that can grow significantly, particularly on the back of them drilling and ideally having some drill success. And I know they're planning to do a large campaign this summer, and they're fully financed to do that. They've got $44 million in cash.
Yeah, I know. I remember those copper zones up to 7% copper is incredible, incredible grade. So,
I'm gonna point to that for 1 second because I just came back from Nevada where I had a board meeting, and one of my directors gave me this essentially as a somewhat of like a reminder. I don't know how well it'll come across on camera,
yeah. Hmm.
but this is from underground at Madison. And so Madison produced 2.6 million pounds of copper, small scale production, but between 20 and 35% copper between 2008 and 2012. He pulled this piece under it. This is the second piece that the first piece went for assay, and it's assayed at 40% copper. And he's
40%.
put a note on
Wow.
here to remind me that says nothing beats grade.
That's indeed
And
great.
so this is what we're
Absolutely.
going after down at Madison because it carries
Absolutely. So
incredible
with
grade.
all these Vizsla Copper, basically fully valued, your share, buy back your share valuation. So all the drilling in Madison is going to be bonus, looks like. So tell me what's your plan for this year? What's your budget and what the investor should expect
Yeah. So the
from
first piece of the budget down at Madison is a $5 million budget. And so what that's going to get us is a dozen to 15 drill holes at surface and then 2 to 4 drill holes into the deep shots, which is going for the porphyry. What the guys have done an excellent job of is taking all of the data sets that existed previously, but refining them, putting them into a 3D space, and looking how this porphyry vectors. They've done an awful lot of work. They're the first people to ever build a geochemical model, which is something we've been talking about for a few months. So I know investors are ready for us to get out and do this drilling, but it is coming. That game plan exists, and that plan is to go and drill into what we hope will be an active porphyry, and we'll certainly get out and test it to find out. That's sort of this bonus shot in many ways because we have all these near surface targets at Madison. Madison and Broadway, we showed, or which is the two sort of key mines that are on the project, are side by each. Madison, as I mentioned, produced 2.6 million pounds of copper between 20 and 35% copper. It also produced 7,500 ounces of gold at 16 grams per ton gold. Broadway is right next to it. Broadway produced from the late 1800s. It produced 144,000 ounces of gold out of oxides at an average of 9.9 grams per ton gold in oxides at surface. I mean, wild numbers. We showed a corridor this time. We're the first people to show a connecting corridor between the two mines. So it's given it more extension and it's given it more life to bring it together, which is great. This is a small part of what is a 4 kilometer by 2 kilometer project. I'd encourage people to go onto our website. There's 2 videos on there that show A, how that connects, and B, a second video. They're both narrated as well. They're 2, 3 minutes long, but they're worth watching. The second one is narrated as well that shows all the targets near surface, but also talks about the porphyry and shows all these vectors and how they're dipping. And so we'll essentially drill through Broadway, through the skarn, down towards where we think the porphyry is going to be as well. If we hit on that, it certainly should give us an awful lot of joy.
Wow, excellent, excellent. So basically, it's like what you have with Vizsla Silver, potentially ICG will carry the current market cap or the other free upside, looks like.
It's
Plus, you have
certainly,
other projects. Tell me a little bit more.
yes, absolutely. So there are other projects in the company. There is Ziggurat, which sits between Round Mountain and Northumberland, which is a very interesting project. We have the Gooseberry past producing silver gold mine. We just put it on an updated 43-101 on that. And then we have Red Hill. And so Red Hill is on the Cortez Trend. It is a Carlin style system. It was drilled back in 2006 by Barrick with another junior. And Barrick hit it, but they hit it at that time what they considered deep. It was down about 650 meters. And it ran roughly, and I'm giving it one of these because I'm not staring at the numbers, but roughly 25 meters of just over 5 grams. But there was a higher grade hit in there of about 10, 12 meters of 8 grams as well. If you hit that today at those depths, majors would be jumping up and down with excitement because what they've learned over the course of time is these Carlin systems are stacked. So you may hit one here, but you're going to have some dead space, and then you're going to hit it down below. 4 Mile is a great example. And these are big deposits. These are the 10, 20 million ounce Carlin style systems. We have that drill hit on this project. And so we're going to have conversations on that as well as Ziggurat and Gooseberry to look to either vend them out and do exactly what we've done with Vizsla Copper and ICG, or potentially in the case of Red Hill, bring in a major to go and drill it and we'll retain a percentage. So those are all on the board as well. And we look to start knocking those off and adding to that equity book. ICG, another great example of a transaction that we've done with great management. Steve Serbervan running the company, Jeff Swinoga, who was a former director of finance for Barrick. Really well-backed company with good, strong shareholders as well. That's going to be a brand new vehicle. We're excited about that. And as I mentioned, American Pacific shareholders will get a piece to own that directly through their share ownership in American Pacific. If you own shares at the end of February, around third week to last week of February, you'll get it. 0.34% of those shares will come to you in ICG as well.
Wow, excellent. So after this share distribution, does American Pacific still own some ICG or it's auto?
Yeah, we do. That's correct. So we own 11.5 million shares right now. We're distributing 7.5 million shares to
Okay.
shareholders. We think that's the right thing to do, and it gives our shareholders, a win as an opportunity to take part in this without having to go and buy those shares directly. We retain 4 million shares in ICG as well. We like the upside of that company. We love Tuscarora, Danny Boy. I know that's a project that you've been to and
Yeah.
enjoyed. Um, it's that's a district style play in just outside of Elko, Nevada. Putting something together of that size is very difficult to do. As we spent about
Yeah,
5 years putting those pieces together. And now this goes to a company that has the capital and the focus to go and drill it aggressively. Again, we've always focused on high grades in the Western US. That one certainly fits the bill. There's been some spectacular grade that's come out of there. They want to go in, do an extensive drill program and start putting a resource together there. And we're excited about that for them.
Yeah, I remember at that time there's a little company called Oceana Gold was very interested. They put money in, but they have problem in Philippines at that time until they pull it out. But it sounds like they're definitely on the radar on a lot of majors.
Yeah, so you're exactly right. We had a transaction with Oceana Gold who went and drilled it. They had a couple of really good drill hits. One of them being a blind target that they hit at depth for I can't remember the interval, but they had a couple of grams of depth that we'd never seen before. And so we were really excited about that. They ended up pulling out of the Western US entirely and closing down their office. That's how we ended up getting the project back. From there, we added ground to the north, and then we added ground to the south as well to make it significantly larger. So they're referring to it as the Greater Tuscarora package, although we picked up Danny Boy, which is below it. That's part of that package now too. So they've got a big land package that is really target rich to go at. So I'm excited to see how they do.
Well, excellent, excellent. So what's also about your plan for the Vizsla Copper? Because right now it's released per your market cap. Do you plan to distribute some in the future to your shareholders, or what's the plan?
I think the
for them.
game plan for the moment is to sit back and let them execute a little bit. We're
Okay.
not in a rush to do anything with that
Right, right,
stock.
right. Because their shares still too cheap, right? You want to wait until they're a
I
billion dollar company, then you start to,
we
distribute and pay
can, you know,
dividend.
we own just over 15% of Visla Copper at American Pacific. Uh, I think our game plan is to, sit back and watch them execute and see them ideally have some success or at least ride along with them for a while. I like Craig. I like Keith
Yeah.
over there as well. I like their team. Peter Mercer went over with them, and I think he's exceptional. His whole team. I'm excited to sit back and see them execute and go along for the ride.
Okay, great. That's excellent. So tell me a little bit more about a few other projects you have. And then explain to the investor, a lot of people don't understand how can you get all these great projects? You know.
Listen, it's one of the questions that I get the most from people, a lot of people outside of the industry who I talk to. They say, "Well, how do you find these projects?" We built a network over time. I've been in the business since 1999. More importantly, Eric Saderholm's been in the business since the beginning of time, it would seem, and knows everybody involved. He was also the head of exploration in the Western U.S. for Newmont, so he was going around reviewing projects for Newmont. Some of those projects wouldn't have fit the bill for Newmont because they need to be 3 million ounces plus, but they have that potential to get there. Newmont's not going to take those, but he knew where those were. And so, with the likes of things like Gooseberry, Tuscarora, Red Hill, he knew where to go and where to look, and he knows how to evaluate projects as well. We probably evaluate 150 projects a year. It's slowed down because a lot of projects have been picked up now with this boom in mining. But he knows what to look for. We get serious on a couple of projects a year. Last year we took yeah, unknown fact and sort of the work behind the scenes. We took a run at two different public companies last year, trying to take them over to take those projects. We didn't close on either one of them for various reasons, but that's the work behind the scenes that goes on to be able to pick up these projects.
Oh,
Being
excellent.
project rich, solid project rich, and in this environment where you've got incredible rise in gold prices, incredible silver price, and now copper to me, which is an element that is just going to see a tremendous rise over the next few years. Those are the ones we're going to focus on. We can transact on those projects and really reap the benefit as we've seen with both ICG and Vizsla Copper and others to come.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, I want to congratulate for all the work you have done, and thank you as a shareholder. Thank you what you have done. I mean, right now, definitely not reflecting the share price, but I believe one day it will. So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we've
a
been
good
here
job.
before. I mean, I think you'll recall we went through a period of time about 18 months where the price was flat and we wasn't doing what we wanted. And then in 2021, the floodgates opened, and we went from a $12 million market cap to about $140 million market cap. The stock chart looks fairly similar. For chartists, the longer the base, the higher the space. We've got a long base now. We've done a lot of the work that we needed to do behind the scenes. There's more to be done, but we'll get out and execute on a couple of more of these transactions here. That's the game plan, and we'll get out and we'll get after Madison aggressively here in short order. Those things we hope will translate into a what we were able to do back in 21 and 22.
Okay, time to get repeat.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, War. Thank you for the update. Looking
Thank you.
forward. So I want to run to my broker to buy some shares. How do I buy the shares of American Pacific?
Well, thank you very much. I certainly appreciate the time. As I say, you've been alongside of us the whole time, and we greatly appreciate it, Chen.
Okay. All right, great. Thank
Thank
you.
you.